Let's be real, life gets overwhelming. We're constantly juggling work, school, family, responsibilities, and if we're not careful, that stress can take a serious toll on both our bodies and our minds. But the good news is, we're not powerless. One of the most accessible and effective way of combating stress is movement. So, in this session, we're going to explore how moving our bodies, especially through mindful practices like yoga, can help us manage that stress, clear our minds, and just feel more connected and grounded. And we're so lucky to have someone incredible to guide us through that conversation, Connor O'Shea. Connor is a mobility and wellness coach who has helped countless people reconnect with their bodies, build strength, relieve pain, and resilience through simple, powerful habits. Please join me in welcoming Connor to the stage.
Hey everyone, before I jump into my talk today, first of all I want to thank the amazing organizers of today's event, the incredible event venue, and most of all, this is the very end of the day. You've consumed a lot of information, so I want to thank all you guys for staying here until the very, very end. So give yourselves a round of applause. So before we jump into today's talk, I'm going to first just get some engagement from the audience. So I want you to put up your hand if you have any issues with your neck, your shoulders, your back, your knees, your hips. Anyone have any sorts of aches and pains in those areas? Put up your hand. Okay. And anyone here feels stressed or overwhelmed or unsure what to even do when it comes to exercise with all the information out there? Okay, great. So this talk is going to be about how to understand, first of all, why you are in pain, secondly, how to actually fix it, and then finally, how to implement it in a sustainable manner that you can repeat for the rest of your life. Okay? So I'm going to talk a bit more about my own story first, then I'm going to explain the principles that I've used on myself and my clients over the last 14 years, and then we're actually going to go through the activities together so you actually know how to practice this as you leave today. So, jumping in, this is me about 10 years ago, and I was in my mid-20s here. And I was doing a lot of triathlons, lots of heavy gym work. I was working as a personal trainer back in my hometown in Ireland. And my body, even though I thought I was doing everything right, my body was slowly breaking down. I was 25, 26. I was very worried. I remember limping into work one day, feeling like a complete fraud. Here I was going in trying to teach people how to be fit, how to be strong, how to be healthy, and I couldn't even look after myself in my mid-20s when I should have been in my physical prime. So this got me thinking about how to change how I was approaching things, because clearly the approach I had been taking wasn't working. I was broken, I was tired, and everything I did led to more injury. And that's where I started looking at other options. The first thing I explored was Bikram yoga. Just tried it for 1 month in my hometown, and this led me to understand the benefits of using yoga as a movement practice. Now, up until that point, I had been focusing on exercise and performance. I would lift heavier weights, I would try and run further, and I would try and run faster. And this just led to my body breaking down. When I went to India, I went to a place called Mysore. Mysore is one of the founding places of yoga. And I went there for 6 months to really try and rebuild my body from the ground up. So I was really stiff, really tight, had a lot of injuries. And in Mysore-style yoga, you train 6 days a week for 90 minutes. And that process started getting me to change my perception of how we should exercise from a place of performance to a movement practice. Something that you can do on a daily basis that's actually going to cultivate a body that's going to support you for the rest of your life. So this is the first step in my journey of going from being broken in pain to starting to get out of pain. After India, I started searching for world-leading experts in movement. I went to Australia, and I started seeking out people, specifically people who were in their 50s, their 60s, even their 70s. I didn't want to learn from people in their 20s or 30s. I wanted tried and tested approaches. This is Steve Maxwell. Steve is 72 now. He still does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He can do chin-ups. He's got complete mastery. He's fitter than most men in their 20s and 30s. So I learned from him, along with many other people, and the same theme came up. Everyone who was exercising and fit and healthy into their 50s, 60s, and even 70s all said the same thing. They said that exercise should be done little and often. Not something you kill yourself in the gym, but something that you practice consistently. You're focusing on training and practicing movements so you feel better in life. You're not training like I was, where my body's breaking down and it's failing me in my life. It's also led me to my mentor here, Ryan Hurst. Ryan trains the FBI, and he's worked with a lot of high-level organizations. And one of his frames is basically just stepping on the mat. Talking to people outside today, a lot of the issues that people struggle with is actually fitting exercise in. And the mindset is, if I don't have 30 or 60 minutes, what's the point in doing anything? His mantra of just stepping on the mat means you just literally take the first step. That's how you get into a consistent practice. And this is the most important thing that we're going to be going through today. You need to turn this into something that you do forever. And there's a term called the infinite game, which was popularized by Simon Sinek, if everyone knows him here. And this is where you turn this into something that you never stop doing. And in order to turn something into that you never stop doing, you have to learn to love it and enjoy it. And if exercise is a source of punishment, you're not going to continue doing it over the long term. So you want to condense it into something small that you can repeat daily. And then you also want it to be something that gives you joy, that makes you feel better, not something that makes your back sore or your knees painful. What I also found when I exercised more frequently was that my mental health improved dramatically. Before, I was doing 3 to 4 sessions, and I would find that I was very fatigued, very tired, and my mood wasn't good. When I started training more frequently, I found that my general mood was better, because every day I was checking in. I was seeing where I was stiff or tight. I was seeing how my body was feeling. And most importantly, I was giving myself some time every day. This is a massive benefit of turning exercise into something consistent. Now, who here struggles with being consistent with any sort of a movement practice? Put up your hand if you feel it's something that you struggle to be consistent with. Okay. So I just want you to look at the chart here, autoregulation versus constant maximal effort. You have 2 lines. The dotted line is where most people follow when it comes to following a movement practice or an exercise practice. What happens is you haven't done anything for many months or maybe even many years. And as a result of stopping and not doing anything, you feel a lot of pressure to push yourself really hard and make up for all of your lost time. So you follow that dotted line, you push yourself for maybe 4 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe even 12 weeks, and then life happens. You can't sustain it because what you're doing is very, very challenging. The diet is restricted. The workouts are really difficult. And then all of a sudden, you pick up an injury, you go traveling, you come to an event like this, and you lose momentum. Then all of a sudden, you go from doing everything perfectly to 0. And then you lose the momentum again for 1, 2, 3 months, or even 1, 2, 3 years. And then this cycle repeats perpetually. So then you stop again for 3 months, for 6 months. Then you feel even more pressure to start again and push yourself even harder. Then you fail even quicker. The other option, which is the option I'm going to be teaching you how to implement today, is called auto-regulation. When you auto-regulate, it doesn't matter what happens with your life. You basically, like water will continue going downstream, and it will avoid the rocks, but it keeps going to its destination. This is what you want to do with your movement practice as well. So regardless of how busy you are, you're following something that you can actually sustain over the long term. So it doesn't matter if you're traveling, it doesn't matter if you're sick, it doesn't matter if you're tired, you can still do this for the rest of your life. So before we get into the 5 steps I'm going to be teaching you guys today, I want to just explain why a lot of you are probably struggling with issues like you put your hands up for earlier, like upper trap pain, shoulder pain, back pain, knee pain, hip pain. The two issues that generally come up with myself and with my clients, and with I think a lot of you here, it's called upper cross syndrome and lower cross syndrome. Okay, so if you look at the diagram, basically upper cross syndrome is when your chest and shoulders get really tight and restricted from being on our phones, from being on our laptops, from being driving. So our chest gets tight, our upper back gets weak and rounded, and we start getting a lot of tension through our neck, our shoulders, and the trap area. Lower cross syndrome is, again, from sitting. So when you're sitting a lot, your hip flexors get tight, which causes you to do this duck position. Your lower back starts getting tense, your glutes get weak, and your abs switch off, okay? So basically, to over-exaggerate, people are walking around like this, okay? And a lot of the issues when you jump into an exercise program, your lower back gets worse, your shoulders get sore, your neck gets sore. So you want to rebuild strength from the ground up and understanding these issues so then you can actually train consistently and not lose momentum. So the exercise practice we're going to be doing today is actually going to be addressing these specific issues so you guys can actually get into a consistent routine. Now, the 5-step framework we're going to go through, the first is OTMs, opportunities to move. Number 2 is setting your exercise floor. Number 3 is technology boundaries. Number 4 is a 5 or 10-minute routine, what actually to do in that time, when you have that time. And number 5 is don't miss twice. Now, just so you understand why I put this together, it's to understand what are people's main bottlenecks, main problems, main reasons why they can't exercise consistently. Number 1, they don't have enough time. Who here feels like they don't have enough time in their day? Yeah. Who here feels like they don't have enough energy and they feel overwhelmed all the time? Who here is struggling with injuries? Who here feels like they can't be consistent or inconsistent with their exercise? Okay? So these approaches are going to address these bottlenecks so you don't have anything holding you back from being consistent. So the first one is called OTMs, opportunities to move. This is where you just build exercise into your day. If you're in the airport, you see everyone's going up on the escalator. Be the weirdo who's using the stairs, okay? So you're just building it into your day, walking further from your car. So then you've no excuse but just to move more. There's tons of research on societies and cultures that walk more have much lower issues with disease, and also from a longevity standpoint, they do a lot better. The second thing is just building it into your life, like walking meetings, grabbing a coffee with a friend instead of sitting down, actually go for a walk. And then make it a game, okay? So this OTM acronym is something that tends to stick in people's heads. So I still have friends and clients from like 6 or 7 years ago, and they'll say, hey, Connor, I got my OTMs in today, all right? So you just want to focus on how you can build that in. You can even do this right now. So we can actually do this all together now and start working on your OTMs by actually just standing up for the next 30 seconds, okay? So everyone's going to stand up. Yep, you can stand up now. Great. And all we're going to do is just stand, and then you're going to balance on one leg. That's it. And then you can balance on the other leg. And anything you can do to get you out of a seated position is only going to be a net positive. So the biggest challenges we have as a society is being stuck at our desk all day, stuck in a chair all day, okay? The second one is creating an exercise floor. This is an activity I actually want you guys all to do right now. So what an exercise floor is, we set this with all clients, is what can you do consistently for the next 12 months that feels easy, okay? So a lot of clients feel like they can consistently train twice a week for about 10 minutes. Most people feel that that's very manageable. Who here feels like 10 minutes twice a week is something they could probably do for the rest of the year? They don't feel like it's too much? Okay? And if you feel like it's too much, you just make it smaller, 5 minutes, okay? So what I want you guys to do right now is actually set your exercise floor and put it into your phone calendar. So Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, whatever Outlook calendar you're using, and put it in at a time that people aren't going to get in the way. So generally, a morning session at 7 a.m. for like 10, 15 minutes on a Monday, Wednesday, or a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it turns into this automated thing that just happens in your life, okay? So we want to remove all of the friction to get you exercising. You can sit down now, guys, okay? The third point is technology boundaries. I think this is probably, surprisingly, one of the most important things I work on with my clients now, and most of my clients are in their 50s and 60s. So I think for a lot of people here are in their 20s or 30s, this is even more important. Okay, so if you're someone who here has issues with sleep, you find it hard to sleep, you find it hard to switch off, even if you go to bed, you're wired. Okay. Who here has their phone in their bedroom? Put up your hand if you have your phone in your bedroom. Yeah. And who here feels kind of stressed and overwhelmed all the time? So if you feel stressed and overwhelmed, you have your phone in your bedroom, and you have issues with sleep, that all makes complete sense. The first thing is removing your phone from your bedroom ideally, or at least getting it out of hand distance. What we do with clients is we set up a 60-minute no phone or no technology rule before bed. What this does is it allows your nervous system to actually calm down, so you can actually sleep when you want to sleep. If we're scrolling on TikTok right before bed, you're never going to sleep, right? So you want to just, again, set up your environment so it's easier for you to win. That's the most important thing. If you're on autopilot mode, you're going to be over-consuming technology, and technology is going to completely run your life, unfortunately. I love technology. It's why I'm here today, is because of social media, but also having the boundaries makes it a lot easier from a recovery standpoint. So no phone 1 hour before bed, and first thing in the morning, give yourself that space so you're not just consuming all of these horrible images or whatever that the news is throwing at you first thing in the morning. This is going to help massively from an overwhelm standpoint, from a stress management standpoint, and from a recovery standpoint, which is massively important for your long-term health. So this is step number 3. Step number 4 is a simple mobility routine. This is what we're actually going to be doing today. So this simple routine is basically a reverse tabletop, a lunge A, and a Spider-Man lunge with reach. So the reverse tabletop, you can see the gentleman at the bottom. In this position, he's opening up his chest that gets tight from sitting. He's strengthening his back that gets weak from sitting. He's also strengthening his glutes from sitting, and he's opening up the front of his hips. So if there's one exercise to do that's going to be like an anti-sitting stretch and movement, it's probably the reverse tabletop. The second exercise is the lunge A, which is a hip flexor stretch. So this is a great exercise to do because it opens up the front of the hip that gets very tight from sitting, and it helps with lower back issues as well if you guys have a stiff lower back. The final one is a Spider-Man lunge, which I will quickly demonstrate, and we're actually going to do this together at the end. So Spider-Man lunge, you're in a tabletop position, up into an A-frame, then you're going to step one leg forwards, reach, and then you're going to switch to the other side and reach. So this opens up the front of your hips, your spine, strengthens your upper body, and it stretches out the backside of your body. It's a fantastic exercise. The final step, to reduce the final bottleneck that people tend to struggle with, is the don't miss twice framework. So from James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, if anyone here has read that book, this basically means if you have done your floor of exercise Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 a.m., and you miss Wednesday, you just switch it to Thursday. The biggest challenge I see with clients is that they commit to something and then they miss a day, or they said they weren't going to eat sugar again and now they're eating sugar. And instead of just getting back on the wagon on the next opportunity, the next day or the next meal, they say, well, it's Friday now, I'm going to start again on Monday. And it's like, oh my God, I've ruined the weekend, I'll start again next month. I'll start again in January. Don't miss twice allows you to just forgive yourself and get back on as quickly as possible. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with before we go into a bit of a movement practice is just redefining strength and fitness. A lot of the fitness industry tells you you should punish yourself with workouts. and deprive yourself with food. Anything that feels punishing and depriving is something that you're never going to consistently do. I would recommend you look at instead is, what do you want your body to actually be able to do? So for me, I want to have the physical autonomy, so my body has the ability to do all the things I want to do from an adventure standpoint. So this is me in Mount Teide in Tenerife. This is the sunrise at the top of the mountain. It's 3,000 meters above sea level. And I just rocked up to Tenerife, and 2 days later, I was able to do this hike because I had the base fitness to just do it and enjoy this experience. My knees are okay, my lungs are okay, so I had the ability to do all these things because of my base fitness. Now for you, it mightn't be doing something like climbing a mountain, but maybe you work 10 hours a day, and for 10 hours a day, you've got crippling neck pain that's making you hate your job. So for you, your exercise is to alleviate that tension so you can actually enjoy your job, be productive, and not be stressed out of your mind because of that pain. Okay? So just getting really clear, like exercise is the tonic that's going to alleviate a lot of the issues that we struggle with in modern life. So the last thing, guys, is exercise or movement or motion is medicine. Start small, stay consistent, and remember, you don't have to exercise, you get to exercise. This is a really important frame as well. If you lost a limb tomorrow, you'd wish you were being consistent with your exercise practice. So guys, we're going to go into a movement practice now for about 10 minutes. And what I'd like to do is maybe find a place that you have more space. And before we get into it, I'm just going to get everyone to high five the person right beside them, okay? So high five the person beside them. That's it. And on the other side as well, high five person behind you, person in front of you. Great. And yeah, we're going to come down, give yourself some space because we're going to get into the movement routine now, okay? So there's lots of space here. Move across to do the exercise. And if you guys over here maybe move across so there's more space, we can get into the movement routine. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start by everyone standing. This is the first thing we're going to do together. We're going to do a priming exercise because it's been a long day, a lot of information to consume, and this is a good way of just recharging the batteries. So the priming exercise we're going to do is basically you're going to inhale, reach your hands up, and then exhale, pull into your ribs. So we're going to inhale up, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. 5 more. Inhale, exhale. 3 more. 2 more. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Last one. Okay, so you're just going to recover now. You might feel a bit more relaxed. We're going to do one more round. This time you're trying to fill up your lungs with more air, okay? So again, inhale up, exhale, inhale up, exhale, inhale up, and exhale, inhale, exhale. 5 more, exhale, 4 more, 3, 2, last one. Okay. If you're feeling tired at work or stressed, this is a nice little activity you can do. Now we're just going to move from our ankles up towards our neck. So the first thing we're going to do, and that person you high-five, they're going to help you with balance. Okay, so you're going to help each other balance if needed. Yeah, you can grab their hand or grab their shoulder. The first thing is we're just going to do some ankle movements. Okay, you've been stuck sitting all day, giving your joints some love. And then the other way, 5 to 10 reps. Switching to the other leg. And if you're struggling with your balance here, this is good feedback to work on your balance. You can do this when you're brushing your teeth. This is like an OTM. And opposite direction. Great. From there, we're going to go into our knees. So feet together, hands just above the knees, and we're rotating, small movements. That's it. And 3, 2, 1. Other direction. 3, 2, 1. Next one we're going to do, you can sit again, is sitting, feet out nice and wide. And from here, you're just focusing on hinging forwards from the hips and coming back. You can put your hands out in front as well if needed. This is a great exercise for opening up your hips and also for your lower back. You can also do it at work. So you're going to go for 5 exercises, or 5 more repetitions. 3, 2, and last one. Okay, we're going to stand again. You're going to use your partner again for this one. So you're really getting to know each other. So from here, we're going to focus on hip rotations. So you're going to bring your knee up. You're going to bring your knee out to the side, bring it out to the back, and then bring it home. So knee comes up, out to the side, back, and home. We're going to go for 5 clockwise, 5 counterclockwise. 2 more, rotating, and last one. Now we're going to switch the other way. So knee goes back, out to the side, and down. Again, back, out to the side, and down. We'll go for 2 more, guys. Make sure and have your partner to support you. And last one. Okay, shake out your legs. We're going to do the other leg now. All right, so from here, balancing on the other leg. Knee comes up, out to the side, rotating back and down. Second rep, and down. And just paying attention to how it feels. This ankle for me is much less stable. Out to the side and down. We're going to have a little rest and we're going to do one more. So from here, back and lifting. That's it. Back and lifting. Again, knee goes back, out to the side, and last one, out to the side. Okay, so if you have enough space, I would like to go through the 3 movements because there's lots of space here, because these are movements that are going to make you feel better. They're going to help your shoulders, your knees, your hips. So the first exercise is just a simple lunge. So you're going to go down on one knee, and then from here, we're going into the stretch. And if you start doing these 3 exercises 2 to 3 times a week for the next year, you're going to ring me and say, Connor, this has changed my life completely. Thank you so much. Okay? So 3 more. 2 more. And then last one. We're going to hold this position now and just focus on breathing. That's it. Okay, other side. And we need to move all of these people who are not doing anything. You're just watching. That's it. So we're going to go for 5 more. That's it. So this opens up the front of the hip from all that sitting. And last one. And hold. And then the reverse tabletop. So again, you're going to probably need a bit more space, in particular here, guys. I'm watching you. So from here, you're going to sit here in this position. And then we're focusing on lifting the hips up and back down. Going for 3 to 5 repetitions. Yes, good stuff at the back there, guys. You're leading the way. I like it. That's it. Good. And 3 more. And last, we'll do 1 more. Okay, last exercise is a Spider-Man lunge. So you're going to go into a tabletop position. And from here, you're going to step 1 leg forwards and reach. So it's only me and like 3 people now. All right, guys. So again, I want to thank you all for staying till the end. You've been really great. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.